Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Scene on 7. I'm Steve Brennan. Now, first things first, sorry if you're not a football fan, but for those of us that are, it's high time that we all celebrated the fact that we have a new England manager. His appointment has not yet been confirmed, but we all know it's Terry Venables. And while Graham Kelly, Bert Millerchip and the rest of the freeloaders at the FA deny it, we know that Terry's been given the nod. So come on, let the man get on with it, and hopefully we'll have some English football to be proud of in the very near future. On that very subject, the proposed friendly between England and Germany in Hamburg on April the 20th has been called off for security reasons. Nobody had bothered to check, but April the 20th was Adolf Hitler's birthday. Minor detail, really. Here's a quick peek at what's coming up in this week's Scene on 7. In at the deep end for new presenter Kevin Parsons. But did he keep his feet dry? Keith Jones, on his quest for upgrade on the M4, talks to the people that matter, the residents. Motorway madness. Join us later to find out more. Why is Simon Grant talking to a television, and who is Eddie Stobart? And someone right up your alley, as always, your bowling alley that is, Tony O'Rourke visits the Super Bowl. Right, charitable causes, whatever they may be, come up with some pretty crazy ideas and ways of raising money. The very idea of swimming length after length of the pool doesn't exactly thrill me, I don't know about you. But for charity, I guess it's okay. At the Magnet Pool in Maidenhead recently, they held a swimathon. In fact, it was a swim marathon, and on his first assignment, Kevin Parsons went along to find out more. Kevin Parsons, here comes his report.
The Magnet Leisure Centre in Maidenhead, and as you can see there's a lot of activity going on behind me because we've got over 100 teams here taking part in a sponsored swimathon, and I can tell you the atmosphere is absolutely buzzing as a lot of people are trying to raise money for various charities. In the meantime, I'm going to try and stay on dry land, but we're going to find some of the swimmers and find out where some of that money's going to for various charities.
2, 1.
Well, to find out more about today's events, I have with me John Barton from the Lions Club. John, today has been organised by the Lions Club, and obviously you've had a great turnout from the local teams. How many teams, in fact, are taking place?
Well, Kevin, we've had 112 teams entered, but I think most probably about 106 will swim.
And those teams are made up of various groups from the local community. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, yes, the teams come from all over Maidenhead and even as far as Windsor. We get swimming clubs entering for this event. We get a lot of scouts groups, church groups, banks. Marks and Spencer's have entered 2 teams this year. The local football team have entered teams. It's a well-sponsored Maidenhead event, and people from other areas as well.
Now, the teams are raising money for a charity of their own choice and the Lions Club, and at the same time having a lot of fun as well, as we can see. But there's a lot of effort gone into it as well today, John. I mean, how far do you think these people will swim in total today?
Well, I worked it out, actually, after we'd had our conversation, and if one person was doing the swim, they would swim from Reading right through up to the Thames Barrier, or perhaps 4.5 times across the channel. That's one person, of course, and there's a lot of swimmers here.
That's amazing. Thanks, John. Well, I'm still on dry land, but as you can see, this is Chris Whittaker, who's just finished her swim. Well, it's freezing cold outside, Chris. What's it like in the pool today?
It's very wet, but lovely and warm. And it's quite cooling after being stood on the side.
Well, I'd give my right arm to be able to swim like that. But you, who are you swimming for today?
I'm swimming for the Magpie supporters team, and that's the parents of Maidenhead United under-14 football team.
And has it been fun?
It's been great fun. We did it a couple of years ago and we raised quite a bit of money, and it's really exciting, and we're out to get as much money as we can today for the team.
Right, what's your name?
Andy Spratt.
And who are you swimming for today?
The Turbo Turtles.
Another Turbo Turtle. And how did it go?
Okay, it's not going too bad.
The atmosphere here seems buzzing. What's it like amongst all the different teams?
Well, it's really good. We only haven't met many people since the same time last year.
Well, talk about in at the deep end. We've got Ian, who's just swum for the Magpie Flyers, and he's staying in. What's it like in there?
Pretty warm, and it's really exhausting when you're swimming along there.
But have you had good fun?
Yeah, I have.
What's it like? You feeling tired?
Yeah, exhausted.
And do you think you might take up swimming for a profession?
No, I like football more.
Good one. You going to swim again today?
Yeah, in about 5 minutes.
Good stuff. You better get a rest. Thanks a lot, Ian. And Jeanette, you're one of our disabled participants today. What's it been like swimming?
Really good 2 matches there, really good atmosphere, really good.
We were just watching you. How many times have you been up and down today?
So about 10, I'm not really sure.
So you're looking forward to a well-earned rest then?
Yeah, going to have something to eat now.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot then, Jeanette. Hi, what's your name?
Lisa,
And who are you swimming for today, Lisa?
Wessex Bladers.
And you've done your swim. What's it like in there today?
The atmosphere's really good, but sometimes it's difficult swimming against the boys.
Yeah, what's it like swimming against these boys? Are you giving them a run for their money?
Yeah, we're trying our best, but not that good.
And are you going to be going in again today?
Yeah.
Well, as you can see, the swim-a-thon still goes on, with everybody here trying to raise as much money as they can and beat last year's total, which was something like £17,000 raised. Absolutely brilliant. It's been a lot of fun here, and I've stayed almost dry. Well, this has been Kevin Parsons at the Magnet Leisure Centre in Maidenhead. Now back to the studio. Steve.
Thank you, Kevin, and congratulations on your first time in front of the cameras. Now, as yet, my next guest has not appeared on WMtv, but he's about to try his luck in television. Say hello for the first, but not the last time, to Andre Maradian. Hi, Andre.
Hi, Steve. How you doing?
Good to see you. Now, your part in WMtv is going to be on Sport on 7. That's the title of the programme.
Yeah, a new strand starting next week called Sport on 7.
What sports are you going to be covering?
Well, we're going to cover all the usual ones, such as football, cricket, rugby, but we're going to try and cover as much as we can. I mean, anything, quite honestly. Everything from martial arts through cross-country. I mean, if anybody out there is doing dog sledding or something, we want to cover that.
Underwater hedgehog polo, that sort of thing?
Yeah,
great.
Soot juggling.
We look forward to that. As well as established and recognised teams, both professional and semi-professional, like, for example, locally to us, there's the Diodora League, Hayes Town Football Club. Are you going to invite the viewers to make suggestions to you about sports that they're involved in?
Very definitely. I actually feel that's an extremely important part of the programme. We very much want to get the public involved. We want to actually make it your show as much as possible. So if there's anybody out there that's involved in a sporting event, that's got a team that they want publicised or something that's interesting is going to happen, please do write in and let us know. We would certainly like to mention it on the programme, and who knows, you might even get one of us to come down and cover it for us, for us indeed. Steve will be mentioning the address at the end of the programme, so please do keep watching.
Now, one of the items in sport that's becoming increasingly high profile are the disabled in sport. Now, they've always been doing sport, but the achievements that they're reaching at the moment are incredible. For example, the Paralympics. Now, are you going to be covering those?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, just quite recently, they've always been able to do this. The disabled sporting world has been going on for years and years and years and years, but it's got more and more coverage, and I'm very pleased to hear that because it is such an important area of sport. We very definitely want to get involved. There's an extremely large scene in the area that we very much want to get involved in. Again, we'll put the message out. If you have a sporting event, please get in contact.
Whether it's disabled or not?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, kids at school, when they're not at school, they're always complaining, we've got nothing to do, you know. And there's always this thing going on about there are insufficient facilities. Now, as we all know, and indeed featured in today's programme, is one of the newer facilities for sport at Tenpin Bowling, Super Bowl in Maidenhead. Are you going to be visiting all those venues in the local area? Yes, we're going to try and get around as many as we can. It'll probably be an occasional report from a variety of things. Again, it's such a diverse range of sporting activities that you can be involved in. I mean, whether it be the new bowling alley, whether it be a ski slope or a water ski lake or an unusual
pitch somewhere or whatever. We do want to try and give as good a picture to the public to find out what sort of sports they can go and get involved in.
Right. Now, finally, there's been a lot of debate at the moment with the press and the general public when you're in the pub talking to people about drugs in sport and cruelty to animals, that sort of thing. Now, is that something you'll be covering in the programme?
As much as we can, yes. Not only is it just going to be a straight reporting service for things like results and what have you, we are going to try and do as much as we can in regards to stories behind the sports. As you say, drugs is a very, very important thing. We would very much like to cover an item about, for example, how drugs are starting even at school level because of the increased competition right through to professionalism. But there's many other areas. I mean, for example, cruelty in some of the sports involving animals, the politics of sport, not only just at a professional level, but at all levels. You'll be quite amazed, and hopefully we can come up with some really good reports on that.
But what we come up with is basically up to the viewer.
Absolutely. Yep. Sport on 7, please. I'll say it again. Do write in, and we look forward to presenting a programme to you starting from next week.
And the address coming up later in the programme.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Andre. Thank you very much. And good luck with the programme.
Thank you.
Later in the programme, I have a very special appeal from the Thames Valley Police for your assistance in catching the person or persons responsible for assaulting 2 women in Slough on Tuesday, the 18th of January. So please have a pen and paper ready to take down some details. Right now, here's the second in the series tackling the proposed changes to the M4 motorway. The Place Maidenhead, the presenter, Keith Jones.
With me now I have Edge Gray, actually lives in Schopenhangers. Edge, how's this going to affect you, this new motorway section?
Well, from our point of view, it's pretty disastrous, quite honestly, because the link roads, which are going to serve junction 8 and 9, pass within about 20 metres of the property. Now, although the road will be in a cutting, nevertheless, it's bound to have quite a dramatic effect and increased noise levels. So I am very concerned. Nevertheless, I recognise that probably there isn't a great deal that we can do in terms of the overall project. But I do think that there are a number of areas where there needs to be substantial amendment. I've had a look at some of the large-scale maps, and I just wonder how many people realise that there will be no access onto the A404M from Schopenhangers. People that wish to join the London route are going to have to come down this new link route, past the side of my house, onto junction 8 and 9, then back across the A404 before they can get onto the London route. Similarly, it seems astonishing to me that the main terminuses that are going to serve Maidenhead Junction end in T junctions, and I cannot understand for the life of me why the slip road on the north side of on the south side of the M4 is not going to remain. I quite honestly, I think that a child could have done better than this, and I think it's not very well thought out at all.
With me I have Leo Walters. Leo, what's your involvement with this motorway project?
Well, I represent Bray on the Royal Borough of Windsor Maidenhead District Council, and have done for a number of years. And I'm also on the Parish Council as well, actually,
okay.
Bray Parish Council.
All right, tell us where we are now and what's going to happen to this area.
Well, we're just north of the existing M4 motorway, and the proposal by the Department of Transport is to put another 6 lanes roughly where we are now, or not so very distant, far from where we are now.
But surely that's a good thing, isn't it?
Well, the traffic congestion only occurs in the evening and in the early morning, people going to and from work. And frankly, one queries the necessity for making such a large capital investment, £250 million, just to suit the needs or just to meet the needs of those people just travelling to work in the morning and coming back in the evening. The rest of the day, you know, the motorway's virtually empty.
How's it going to actually affect the people who live here in Priors Way?
Well, they're going to be right on the motorway, the new trunk road which is going to go on, and I mean the effect on them as far as noise and pollution and so on will be enormous.
Now the Department of Transport have done their surveys and they say that this is going to be a good thing and it's going to go ahead. Is there anything we can do to change that?
Well, this is the consultation stage. The observations and comments had to be put to the department by the 31st December. That's been done. There's been a massive objection from the Berkshire County Council, from the Bray Parish Council, from the various preservation societies and so on. And the department have said that they would look at all these observations and comments, which are mainly objecting to it, and then they will come up with some draft scheme. But maybe the whole scheme might not happen, because the government is reviewing the whole of the motorway programme, including this particular part. And I think one of our biggest protestations about this is the fact that the ministry have shown us just part of the scheme. They haven't shown us what's going west of here, you know, west of Junction 8 and 9. We don't know what's going to happen there, and all these schemes are being done piecemeal, and you're not actually seeing the whole story and the effect over the whole area of the whole of the schemes.
So do you honestly believe there is a hidden agenda somewhere?
I think there is a hidden agenda, yes, and I think that's gradually coming out. There's all these Euro expressways being, you know, up in Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire, going down to Folkestone. So there's not a comprehensive integrated scheme being shown to the public at large, and that is one of the most worrying aspects. And of course the public transport system part of it is being ignored entirely.
So what alternatives are there in public transport, for example?
Well, the alternatives are that there must be a way of getting people to use public transport much more. I mean, if you, at the Department of Transport, 90% of the money and 90% of the staff currently with the Department of Transport is spent on roads. Railways, canals are completely ignored, so there must be a sort of sea change in the view of the Department of Transport that people can be carried by public transport. And I always quote the example of Los Angeles, where they've had all the motorways built in the world, as anybody who's been there will know. They've come to a full stop now. I think cars go at about an average speed of 11 miles an hour in Los Angeles. They've built all the motorways, all the roundabouts and so on, and they've called a halt to it because of the devastation, the pollution, and now they're going in for a transit system, a railway system. And that's what we should do here, and we're, you know, we're a smaller island.
Leo Walters, thanks very much.
Thank you.
More on that subject in next week's programme, and it looks like a fascinating series, I think you'll agree. And don't forget, if you'd like to contribute to the ongoing argument over the M4 or anything else in the programme, the address is coming up at the end of the show. Now then, if you do write into the programme, what you can do is you will definitely win one of these stickers. Okay, that's the new WMtv Cable Corporation stickers. And at that point, I'll definitely tell you, you can see one on Joe's van, Joe and Moira's van. They make the best sandwiches in the world. Am I right, crew? Absolutely. Thank you very much. Joe and Moira, hi. I know you're watching this. Time now, incidentally, for a quick cup of tea. Back very soon. Stay tuned. We are Scene on 7 and we are WMtv. Back in just a moment after this commercial with more goodies. See you soon.
For your holiday away from the crowds, our 9-bedroom villa has its own swimming pool, tennis court and billiards room, and is available for room or whole villa rental. Situated on the Portuguese west coast, 3 minutes from the beach, with 3 golf courses within 40 minutes drive. And of course there's the renowned Portuguese food. For brochure or video, call Eaton Travel on 0753 671747.
Ideal Home Superstore.
Whatever you're looking for to furnish your house, look no further than the
Ideal Home Superstore.
Within our giant store on the Bath Road, Sippenham, the choice just has to be seen to be believed. With interest-free credit on some items, this is the ideal place. And don't forget the South East's biggest furniture sale begins on the 27th of December. 388 to 389 Bath Road, just off Junction 7. It's the ideal
Superstore.
Hello and welcome back. If you did make a cup of tea, I'll be back in just a few, I'll be round after the programme's finished, sorry, to drink it. Thank you very much indeed. We have to make our own tea here. I don't know, can't get the staff, can you? Also, by the way, I just thought I'd mention this. We really like fruitcake, don't we?
Absolutely.
We do. So if you're in the fruit making business, the fruitcake making business, or you're baking them at home, you're very welcome to send one in. Something a little bit special this week on Update. Driving around, you'll bump into them, although I hope not literally, some lunatics in charge of vehicles. I'm talking, of course, of motorway madness.
Yes, thank you, Tango Uniform 5. have sufficient hearts, Carl, for the link, or can I break off and hand it over to one of your vehicles now, Vascot Turbo?
Yeah, Vascot 2, if you can stay with them, Tango to Uniform 5, are you right behind it, over? 4-5, with you. Going past on the instructions of the Range Rover. Tango 2. Tango 2.
He's crashed at junction 23.
It's startling stuff, isn't it? Now, that's the content of a new video which is about to go on sale in the shops. Yes, you can actually buy it. In the studio to discuss with me the subject and hopefully enlighten us and make us all a little bit better drivers is Inspector David Rowland from the Metropolitan Police. David, welcome.
Good evening.
Now, you're from One Area Traffic.
That's correct.
And you've been witness to some of these scenes that are in this video. Now, this video is going on sale. There's been a lot of controversy in the press about pursuit by police of suspected stolen vehicles, that sort of thing. What is the current policy?
There are national guidelines laid down for police pursuits. It's down to the police driver or the police control as to whether the pursuit continues or is aborted. Problem being is that when a pursuit starts, you don't know why the driver won't stop. You may have spotted an offence of just not wearing a seatbelt, no road fund licence, but it could be a terrorist, an armed robber, a burglar, or whatever.
Right.
You can't turn until you've actually stopped that person, what the problem is.
You've got good reasons for chasing him, he's got no good reason to stop.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to come to the second piece in the video now. David, perhaps you'd like to talk us through this particular section. Again, it's a very alarming clip. Watch carefully.
Right, this is on the M25 motorway. You can see on the hard shoulder there, the driver reversing. Obviously, he's missed the turn-off, which you can see on the right-hand side.
Now, he's coming perilously close to all sorts of oncoming traffic from the near side lane, but he's about to make probably the most dangerous manoeuvre that anybody could make, apart from changing from near side to the offside lane. He's actually going to change onto the slip road.
That's right. The reversing has been all over the place so far. You can now see is at the intersection there. You can also see there's a coach coming up to take the exit and has had to just swerve there quite violently to avoid the car, which is now pulled off. Now, the coach driver must get an award, surely. Well, he's done well there. It could have been a very nasty accident. He's a coach for the people on board, which, you know, if the car had actually hit...
Right, it could have been a lot of occupants, and the coach was fully loaded as well, I understand.
That's right, yes.
Now, the other thing is about this particular video that's going on sale now, which, by the way, is called Police Stop, is that it's astonishing, really, that police have actually given permission of access to the onboard cameras that you use. What's the police's policy on that? Why have you given permission to make this into actually what is a commercial venture?
Well, we hope the message will get across from a road safety point of view. There are a lot of stupid acts on this video people have committed. Careless driving or selfish driving. What we hope people...
Downright dangerous driving
and
too.
dangerous in some cases. What we hope people will look at it, consider lone driving. If they're doing things they see on the video which may strike a tune home, they do something about it. If that's a selfish person, won't be quite so selfish.
Right, well, let's hope so. The impact of this is absolutely incredible. For example, I mean, we're all aware every winter it happens. Wind, rain, snow, sleet, fog. Yeah, they're the worst conditions you can get. People still drive too fast and too close, as I think is illustrated possibly best of all in this particular clip, David. Perhaps you can talk us through this one. This one is what we're all really familiar with, the motorway pileup.
This is the motor. It's been raining. It's now stopped raining, but the road surface is still wet.
And it's still quite clear, though, isn't it?
Visibility is no problem. The cause here, people are driving too fast, too close together.
Now, the red car has just gone off there. He's lost it completely.
Yes.
Everyone's slowing up to, as a result, perhaps, of being stunned by that. And the rest of the cars are still travelling far too fast and far too close.
You can see the front ones are stopped, but they're still piling in at the back of the video. In fact, the red car that caused it escaped undamaged,
without a
was
scratch.
never seen again.
And here we go. I mean, this is just absolutely incredible.
The cars are still coming up too fast, and we've got one striking just about now.
I mean, that is just alarming, isn't it? Now, in a situation like this, what is the best policy? If you are unfortunate enough to be involved, let's say, in a pile-up like this, is it best to get out of the car and head for the hard shoulder?
It's usually the best thing. It's difficult to say because each accident is slightly different, but the main thing is you want to be in a safe place. And usually the safe place is off the motorway, up on the grass bank.
Away from the danger in case of fire, for example.
Leave the car, get out. But you obviously got to be careful that if you're the only vehicle, traffic is still moving, you don't get run over by another car.
In that situation, of course, the entire roadway is stopped, and they are fairly safe at the front of the thing. But it does very much depend on each given situation. There are no real hard and fast rules. It's a case of judge it for yourself on the day. There are no real guidelines, are there?
That's right, it is difficult. It is find somewhere safe. Watch or look what's going on. Make sure there's no traffic still moving. If you can get safely to the hard shoulder and up onto the embankment. So.
Yeah. One of the high-sided vehicle things that you hear on the radio all the time is we've got high winds coming this afternoon on the weather forecast. Drivers of high-sided vehicles and pantechnicons, I think they always say, don't they, should be aware. And I think that's demonstrated quite easily in this clip. David, if you could just talk us through this one.
Yeah, this one's in Scotland.
Yeah, this is, the police car just happened to be behind this vehicle.
Yes, it's a caravan being towed. What had happened there?
Not anymore, it isn't.
No. What's happened there is the caravan was going along at quite a speed, started to wobble, he accelerated in hoping to get out of it, and as you can see the result.
Nobody injured seriously in many of these clips, were there? I hasten to add.
He was lucky to get out of that one and was okay.
Yeah, rolling it, a Range Rover. Now, I mean, the Drink Drive campaign is an annual thing. That's a success. I understand this year in particular it's been very, very successful. But as a rule of thumb, finally, are driving standards better? Are we safer in our cars on the motorways now?
Well, motorways are statistically the safest place to be. There's less accidents per vehicle on the motorway. The roads are better, more engineering has gone into it, vehicles are better. The only thing that may have not improved is the drivers.
The standard of
and they cause about 95% of the accidents.
Cars, are people lulled into a false sense of security by the fact that the cars have anti-roll bars and safety cages in a lot of these cars? Now you see the adverts for the new Vauxhall. Does that lull them into a false sense of security?
Yeah, I think that does play some part. Yes, the vehicles are safe. They do have all these extra safety devices, and the roads have extra safety crash barriers. There's now airbags. Yes, it can give a false sense.
Mm. Well, I hope you don't have a very busy 1994, David, and not many more chases like that, but it is spectacular stuff, isn't it? And I hope it does result in safer driving by a lot of people. David Rowland, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come into the studio. I'm sure the video will be a big success and will sell well. The video is called Police Stop, and it will be available very soon. It's going to be £10.99. Those viewers who watched over Christmas will not have been surprised how many members of the Take That fan club we were accosted by during our filming out and about in the area. Well, a new star, Eddie Stobart, has his own fan club. But who is Eddie Stobart? You know the name, don't you? You've seen it, but where have you seen it? Where does he come from and what does he do? Simon Brandt has all the details, but I want to know why Simon is talking to a television. Simon Brandt's report here on the Eddie Stobart fan club.
Thanks, Steve. And as they say, now for something completely different. Here in Studio 2, we're hopefully, if all goes well, going to be talking to Ruth Hatfield in Staines with a live link-up about her involvement with the Eddie Stobart fan club. She's going to tell me what it's all about, hopefully. Ruth, can you hear me there in Staines, in your leafy garden? It's all looking rather green, isn't it, for winter? Tell me, Ruth, thank you for this afternoon.
Oh, thank you, Simon.
That's all right, no problem at all. Tell me, what's your involvement with the Eddie Stobart fan club?
Well, it's, well, it first started about 3 years ago, actually, and it was formed by the secretary of Eddie Stobart, who's one of the largest hauliers in England.
Right.
And it came into being because people like me ordinary people travelling on the motorway spotting Eddie Stobart lorries fairly frequently, and we thought...
We're losing you there, Ruth. How did you first become an Eddie Stobart fan then?
Well, about 3 years ago, I used to travel on very short distance of motorway to and from work, and I used to see an Eddie Stobart lorry without fail going there and back. And they're very, very striking lorries, as you can see from the calendar. And I kept this to myself for quite some time, and then when my husband and I were on a long journey, I used to say, let's spot the Eddie Stobart lorries. Well, I got quite a strange look from him, because I think he thought I was sort of going round the bend. But I'd no sooner said that, and I said, look, John, there's an Eddie Stobart lorry, and there was one coming towards us on the opposite side of the motorway. And before very long, another one, and another. And he seemed to think that I wasn't quite such a nutcase as he'd originally thought.
How many are there of you? How many Eddie Stobart fans are there?
There are about 300 to 500 of us now.
Really?
Yes, maybe. I think, well, that was quite some time ago. There's probably more, about, I should think about 1,000 of us now. And when I first became aware that there was a fan club, I got home from holiday earlier this year, and my son had found a clipping out of one of the papers informing me that there was, in fact, an Eddie Stobart fan club, and Jules Holland is a member of the fan club, actually. And it had all come about by people like me spotting Eddie Stobart lorries and then getting in touch with the company, which is based in Carlisle. But they do have branches all over England.
There's one in Reading, isn't there, I think, in Reading?
Yes, there is. There's one at Reading.
Oh dear, we've just lost you again. Is it your ambition to have one of these named after you? Apparently they all have names, don't they?
Yes, most of them have double, sort of, a few of them have single names, but a lot of them have like Mary Ann or Victoria Louise, etc. on the front. But each lorry has a name on the front. And I think all the drivers are very, very proud of their lorries. They keep them extremely clean. And I was talking to one driver.
Don't you actually have some photos there, I think?
One of the drivers, they're very, very friendly, very helpful, and they do like to have their lorries in pristine condition when anybody accosts them, as it were, on the motorway. Yes, here's one taken with one of the driver of Hilary Ann.
Viewers probably can't see that.
That was taken on the M6, actually, as we were travelling up to Scotland. And then on the way back, we actually called in the Hallow of Hallows, and that is the Eddie Stobart main depot in Carlisle. And this is a picture that my husband took. I think he was a bit tremulous when he took
say that again.
I think he was a little bit sort of worried that we'd be accosted by a driver, but everybody sort of seemed to think it was the norm for people to call in and take photographs of the depot. There've been several articles in the Sunday Times about the Eddie Stobart fan club, and a lot of people have written letters. I don't know whether you can remember Daphne Oxenford. She used to be on Woman's Hour, and she used to be on a long, long time ago on Listen with Mother. She's a member of the fan club, and she wrote in saying exactly how I felt, that it was so nice to realise that other people were Eddie spotters and that she wasn't alone in this world, because you do sometimes think that you might be a little bit strange spotting lorries.
Yeah, I remember as a child playing Red Fox when you actually spot letterboxes and telephone boxes and so on, but not spotting Eddie Stobart lorries.
One of the main rivals here in the south is Norbert d'Entresangle. Now, he's a French gentleman who has a haulage firm that comes over to England, and you do often see those as well as the Eddies on the M11 and M25 and M4. So you can look out for those, but they're the arch rival of Eddie. And Norbert wouldn't be interviewed for the Sunday Times, whereas Eddie would. He was quite happy to be interviewed.
It's a good egg then.
But I think Norbert keeps himself to himself. I think with Norbert, it's not so much the lorries. They're not so outstanding. It's the unusual name on the lorries. And there's also another firm in the north which people spot, and that's Preston's of Potto. Now people think it should be Pottos of Preston, but it's definitely Prestons of Potto. So that's another name to look out for. And when I was in the north a short time ago, I had quite an unusual happening. I was sandwiched between an Eddie Stobart lorry on one side of the motorway and a Prestons of Potto on the other. So I don't think that will happen many times, because Prestons haven't got as many lorries as Eddie. I think Eddie's got about 500 lorries altogether now.
Oh, right. Well, Ruth, it will be very interesting to see if there are any other Eddie Stobart fans out there in the Windsor and Middlesex television area.
I'm sure there will be, Simon. I'm sure there will.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on Scene on 7, and hopefully we'll have you back later to give us an update and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much, Simon.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ruth. Bye-bye to you. Ah, wonderful. The magic of technology. Now, just in case you think Ruth needs help, then perhaps the Eddie Fan Club isn't quite for you. But if you are a secret Eddie Stobart fan and want to know more, then you can ring Deborah Rogers. She's the fan club secretary of the Eddie Stobart organisation. Ring her on 0228 379 15 during office hours. And perhaps your journey on the M25, M4, M11, whatever motorway might never be the same again. So until the next time on Scene on 7, it's goodbye from me, and hopefully we'll give you an update on the Eddie Stobart Fan Club. Perhaps you're a member already. If not, then join up. If you are a member, then drop us a line, please, to the address that Steve's hopefully going to give us later. While it's back to Studio 1 and on with the rest of the programme. See you later.
Thank you, Simon. Hopefully Simon, and so on and so forth, will be here in the studio next week in person. Now, there's something to look forward to. On a serious note, you'll probably have noticed that Police File is conspicuous by its absence since Christmas. The boys and girls in blue will be back very soon. But 2 serious assaults in Slough have deserved instant coverage from WMtv. Maybe you can help the police catch the thug responsible. Were you in Aylesbury Crescent or Aldborough Spur between 6:30 and 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, the 18th of January, 1994? 2 vicious, unprovoked attacks occurred between 6:30 and 7:15 on that Tuesday. That's Tuesday, the 18th of January, 1994. Now, the first attack happened on the path to the rear of Aylesbury Crescent. That leads to Bayliss Park, and that was about 6:30 p.m. A 17-year-old girl was making her own way home, minding her own business, when she was grabbed and hit several times about the head and face with a garden ornament made of stone. She was terrified, and her loud screams attracted the attention of neighbours, at which the offender fled. Now, regrettably, the second attack happened on the pavement of Aldborough Spur at 7:07 p.m. That's the same day, the 18th of January. On that particular evening, can I remind you once again, a 22-year-old girl was walking home when she was hit over the back of the head with an iron bar. It knocked her to the ground, and she was also struck several times about the face and head. She also screamed and attracted the attention of neighbours, at which the offender again fled. Now, the victims were not connected in any way to each other, and both attacks, I might remind you, were totally unprovoked. Sounds like a lunatic. Both girls were taken to Wexham Park Hospital, where stitches were necessary for head wounds that they received. It's believed that both attacks were committed by the same man. He's obviously a dangerous and violent individual, and police are anxious to catch him. The local community have been shocked by these evil, unprovoked attacks, and we are extremely concerned here at WMtv. We dearly want to trace this man and prevent him from further offending, and also to protect the public. He is a white male, aged between 5'8" and 6 foot tall, stockily built, aged in his early 20s, and wearing a black puffer jacket, dark trousers, jeans, and a black hat. His hair is fair to light brown, and the police are particularly interested in also speaking to 2 youths who chased after the offender from the scene of the first attack at Aylesbury Crescent. Anyone who has any information that they think is relevant, no matter how insignificant they think this information is, please contact Detective Sergeant Steve Tolmie at Slough CID. The telephone number is 0753 506 275. I'll repeat that. Ask for Detective Sergeant Steve Tolmie at Slough CID on 0753 506 275. Details of the attacks and information about all the items in this week's programme, as usual, are available on the moving magazine service 24 hours a day. It's 40 minutes past the hour. Now, to the average person, Super Bowl means American football. But we know different in Maidenhead, don't we? Super Bowl now means fun, 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 and 10-pin bowling and much, much more. It's the latest of more than 20 centres built by First Leisure in the UK, and we sent Tony O'Rourke along to play.
Yes, Steve, who needs Mr. Blobby when you can have Bowler Bear? We were invited along to the opening of the Maidenhead Super Bowl back in January. Here we are, let's go inside. Yeah.
Where he's going to cut the tape and bowl the first ball, and it's going to be interesting to see how many pins he knocks down. So, here we go. 2, 3, go! Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, Maidenhead Super Bowl is now officially open. Thank you, Councillor. Right, now we have the largest, heaviest weight ball here, which the mayor has selected. He's a bit of a heavyweight mare. He's now going to bowl the first ball. I'm going to ask Fred Harlow, our regional manager, who is actually from Maidenhead, to show the mare how to bowl. You're supposed to run at it, Mike, he said, whoever he was. Here we go. The first ball ball. The first ball ball. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking very good. Oh, it's a strike! A strike!
Mr. Mayor, Councillor Mike Scott, I thought you'd come here just to cut the tape, but in fact you've been involved in this project all along.
Yes, I have. Prior to becoming mayor, I was chairman of the council for 2 years, so I watched this more or less from conception to birth, so I was very proud to be asked to open it today.
What other ways have you involved in the project?
Right. Mainly, I was in charge of the council's finances, and of course, things like this cost money, and they take a lot of working out and a lot of dealing, especially when you're dealing with public money as well, so we have to be very careful. So I've more or less been sitting in watch over the council's finances for 2 years and over the dealings that's been going on with First Leisure.
It's not quite a legislative spree, is it? What does it have to do? Nick Tamblyn, you're the commercial director of First Leisure, and this is just one of many Super Bowls you've opened around the country.
Yes, we've now opened 24 bowls in the UK.
This particular establishment represents £3 million worth of investment on your part. Are you expecting that the current fashion for bowling is going to be sustained?
Yes, the current uplift in bowling began about 4 years ago and has continued pretty strongly ever since then. But I think it's important to remember that this centre is far more than just a bowl. We have bars, amusements areas, the new Crystal Maze area, all sorts of different things for people to do when they come to the entertainment centre.
What about disabled people? Can the disabled come here and bowl?
Yes, we're very proud of our disabled access. Disabled people can get actually onto the lanes and either bowl from a wheelchair or use special equipment which will help them direct the bowl towards the pins.
This thing is brilliant. This is great. Look at this. Look at this. Super diner orders. Lane 10. We want food. Burgers and snacks. Quarter pounder with cheese, please. How do you see the future for this Super Bowl?
I think it's got a fantastic future. Actually, I was thrilled when I walked through the door. I haven't been here before. First time. I didn't come to the preview on Tuesday, but first impression, fantastic. And as I said in my earlier speech, if any of the children in the Maidenhead and Windsor area say they haven't got anything to do, they want a good whack round the back of the head, because ideal situation for them now.
This is Amanda. Amanda's going to tell me how to bowl. Amanda, what size ball do I need?
It depends on whether you're male or female. Usually children are 6 to 8 pounds.
6 to 8 pounds.
And an adult, male adult, will take to 14 to 16 pounds.
So the number on the ball implies how many pounds it weighs?
Yes.
Right, what about if I was a whip?
If you're a whip, I should say about 6 to 10 pounds, depends.
Girly ball.
Girly ball, yeah.
What have you got for me there?
I've got that size 14.
14, can I try that? Can I just try that? Okay. Oh, wow. So what do I do with it now?
The idea is you've got 10 frames, and each frame you've got 2 tracks of bowling. The idea is to get all the pins down in each ball.
Right, so I basically chuck it down the lane and try and knock over as many pins as possible.
Don't go on the other side.
Don't go over the line?
No.
Right, okay. I'm going to go and do that. See you next week, Steve. Cheers. Bye-bye now. Go. 0.
We're going to have a night out at the Super Bowl, aren't we? Yes, we are. We are. You can all bring your fruitcake. Now then, as well as fantastic 10-pin bowling facilities at the Super Bowl, Channel 4's Crystal Maze is there too. The Super Bowl is located at St Cloud Way in Maidenhead, and it's obviously worth a visit. You might even see Tony O'Rourke, but this time he'll forget to let go of the ball. See you there. We're going to have a great night out there. Don't forget, if you can help with any of the information on either of the very serious assaults in Slough, please ring Detective Sergeant Steve Tolmie at Slough CID on 0753 506 275. The address for all your letters, comments, suggestions for the programme is Scene on 7, WMtv, P.O. Box 7, Slough SL3 6ET. I'll repeat that. Scene on 7, WMtv, P.O. Box 7, Slough SL3 6ET. Now, in the post, don't forget
the
fruitcake. We want some fruitcake. We're really, really into fruitcake, so don't forget. That's about all for this week's Scene on 7. I'm Steve Brennan for the Cable Corporation and WMTV. See you next week. Bye-bye. Oh, we're not going yet. See you next week. And don't forget...
the fruitcake.
Bye-bye.